I love the fact that God has created each one of us as very awesome individuals, and there's no other way to put it. Each one of us are very distinct, very unique, and as somebody once said, you are the only you that God has created, which points up our uniqueness. And part of that uniqueness is that each one of us has a different take of life. And I think that's what makes our conversation so interesting, isn't it? We're not all on the same wavelength, and it does. It's stimulating. I love to get different viewpoints and different takes on things. But part of that is each one of us has a different vision. And to point that out, so there's three people, and they're each looking at the same oak tree. Now, I know there's stories like this, as an example of the blind men filling the elephant and explaining what it is. Each one of them had a different perspective, but these three individuals are looking at an oak tree. And the first one looks at it and just measures it out with his eyes, and it's just, he's awestruck about the value of that oak tree in terms of board feet and how much he will be able to get if he cuts it down and makes lumber. And the second individual looks at that same oak tree, and it's just, thinks a miracle has happened because he's looking at all of the possible firewood to keep his family warm in the winter. And the third person looks at it and just looks at all of a sudden God's creative artwork that God has made available to all of us to enjoy. And it's a manifestation of God's love and God's creative energy. So, for this person, the value of that oak tree was far more than firewood or lumber. That different perspective. And sometimes I love to talk to other people because I want to lock in on their perspective. I find out that their perspective is far more just in a place where they can enjoy all of creation. The things that my father taught me that are really worthwhile in life, the things that you can really count on, are actually the things that you can't count. And I like that. If I find myself in a place where I'm finding worth by how I can count on, or a place that then I know that's really not what God has created me to lift up in terms of my vision of what is really valuable. As a matter of fact, St. Paul said to Timothy, he said, godliness, and I love that word, godliness, or we could say righteousness, or living the life that God has created us to live, is of value in every way, not just when we come to church, not just when we pray, but every breath that we take. And he says it holds promise for the present, for this day, and also for the life to come. Many of you know that I'm very involved with interfaith work. And part of that is that I believe religion is good for the world. Now, yes, there's a lot of harm that has come from religion, but the religion I look at, but that has the value, is because it teaches its adherents a true sense of value. That's, I think, is one of the great assets of a real, true religion. And it teaches its adherents, or its believers, what is really worthwhile. God bless.